Welcome to this demonstration of Aforza's delivery capabilities. I'll take you through the way to set up a route, load orders to the route, optimize the sequence, and then we can assign the appropriate tasks to the driver. This demo intentionally has a lot of manual steps, just for the sake of the demo to highlight the different steps that we can go through, but actual deployment would be much more automated. So I'm starting here an existing route where there's a lot of metadata that we can define for different routes that we can set up front to segment our customers in zones that can be supplied through an associated distribution center. I'm starting out with this default route for an area of Nicosia, where we can define what is the territory, the distribution zone, what is by default the truck type that we will use for this route. And if I go to related, we can see what are the customers that are by default part of this route, and specific delivery routes that have been created out of this route as a foundation. So if you want to create a new delivery for upcoming orders, I can create a new delivery route. Because it has its foundation in that Nicosia route, we get that reference, and by default then different levels of information is automatically populated, like the distribution zone, the distribution center or the warehouse that the driver will start from, who's the dedicated driver or the default driver for this route, which I still can change, of course, if Sally is not available. The default truck type that we will use for the delivery of these customers. If I hit save, it will take me to the next step, where basically on a process-based approach we try to go through the different steps. So we've done the setup. Next step would be that we load the orders. Then we can define what is the route sequence of these orders, and from that sequence we can schedule our deliveries, and then we're basically done. So here on the details, we see the information that was just populated, and the route is being targeted for today with a starting and end time for the driver that will have its default working hours. So we linked the truck. For the sake of the demo, this truck only has a vehicle load capacity of 10 kilos. And when we start loading the orders, we can also calculate what is the total weight of the orders that we will have to deliver. So we can do a validation that if that fits the truck. So our next step is to load orders. So if I go into that area, we can utilize a flow to use that. Of course, we can also automate this process, but like I said, for the sake of the demo, we have a lot of manual steps to highlight the different steps that the process can go through. So we can load the orders looking into a specific date. So we can say, well, it's the orders for today, but of course, typically you have a cutoff date for the orders that you capture before they can be delivered. So in this case, we do the orders of the 12th, and we have a reference for the distribution zone or the grid. So with these parameters, I can select if there are any orders available. So I have 4 orders that are ready for delivery in my reference, and I can see what is the total weight of these orders. So I can select some or all of them depending on the dispatcher that is gonna create this route. So in this case, I'll take all 4 of them. Then if I go next, they will be all associated with the order. So I have my orders as part of the load. I can also visualize the location on a map, and also I'm getting confronted with a error message that I am exceeding the maximum weight of the vehicle. So if I go back to my detail view, I can quickly see here that my maximum load was 10 kilos, but the total order weight is 400. So that's why we get this error message. So then I can either change the orders that I can deliver, or I can upgrade my truck. So I take a flat truck rather than a van. And if I save that, This one has a capacity of 18,000, so I'm good to go with from an order weight perspective. So my process, the next step is to do a optimization or define the route sequence. I can do that on different types of criteria. I can do it manually, but also can utilize a route optimization. So by clicking that, we can load the different delivery addresses of the customers, and then have the system optimize a route, starting from the blue dot, which is the distribution center, where the driver needs to start and end his day. So by default on these locations, we can say, okay, we first need to go to the south, and then go back up north and end the day in the distribution zone. Again, this step can of course be automated, but I want to highlight this here in the flow as well. So I can save it. So we have an association of the information. If I quickly refresh my screen, I'll quickly go back to details. So the route is created, it's linked here, and we can move to the next step. Or before I want to do that, I can also go into our visit planning capabilities, where I can find my route that I've just created, that I can review or even manually adjust it if that's needed. So I can give it another name if that's appropriate. And then we can move into to the route, where I can, for instance, change the order manually if I want to do that, maybe due to certain circumstances. And then I can go next and save it. Once we've done that, also we get all the parameters like the driving distance and time, and we can take that into account when we start scheduling our visits. So first, because I changed it, I can quickly align the new sequence of the route here. Again, this of course can be automated to have the system do that before I can actually go and say, now I want to start scheduling my deliveries. So based on the route that either have been optimized utilizing the optimization, or based on my manual intervention, I can now start building my deliveries, my delivery tasks for my driver based on that order. Again, we utilize a flow just to go through certain steps. So we select all the data, and then start building the visits. And then when we're done, we also have a next step. If I go to my summary view here, I can see all the information that has been created. So the orders that are associated with this delivery, that's what we already saw. But also now I have 4 visits that's been scheduled. And if I go back to my visit planning, if I change my view to my agenda, my calendar, as the Sally Sales was the driver, I now have 4 appointments in my calendar to do the delivery tasks. So I open up, I can have different types of tasks. Might be a delivery task, it might also be additional things like collecting invoices and other things. But also we have automatically scheduled the beginning and the end of the day a stop at the warehouse, where I can accept the load and load my truck or my van. So maybe some things around the vehicle logs that you need to go through. So we can define the different tasks for the driver to be performed. So this is a high-level overview of the delivery capabilities. Like I said, a lot of manual steps due to the demonstration. There's a lot of automation that is behind this that can be done, so it's easy to set the elements all through, but still you have the ability to manually adjust it if that's necessary. Okay, thank you for your attention.